Well, I'm here to tell you there is some moving and shaking going on in the Indiana Fever organization because they have definitely let go of a player. Now, I know y'all thinking, what does this mean? This means Caitlin Clark return is sooner rather than later. Could that be why we did not see Caitlin come back? I mean, we did not see Caitlin travel with the team this past week. I don't know.
The Indiana Fever just made a move that has the entire basketball world talking. Kira Lambert, brought in as Caitlin Clark's short-term replacement, was cut almost as quickly as she arrived. Now, Fever fans are connecting the dots, and many believe this sudden decision points to one thing: Caitlin Clark's return is right around the corner.
Guys, today the Indiana Fever have officially released Kyra Lambert, a guard from overseas who Stephanie White signed on a trust me bro recommendation. Somebody who Stephanie White didn't even know existed up until about 8 days ago. Unfortunately for Kyra Lambert, her time on the Indiana Fever has come and her time on the Indiana Fever has gone. Best of luck to you and your future endeavors.
This isn't some routine roster shuffle. It's the kind of move that makes you think the Fever are planning ahead while everyone else is still catching up. Cutting a replacement before her 7-day deal even ends isn't about performance, it's about space. And in Indiana, there's only one star worth clearing that space for: Caitlin Clark.
Now, why is this move curious? Well, Lambert was on a 7-day deal, so the Fever could just be looking at this break knowing that her contract was going to expire anyway and not wanting to waste her time. But under the hardship rules, as that it has been, put out there and publicized, the Fever only had to release one of the two players between Odyssey Sims and Kyra Lambert once Caitlin Clark was back. But one of them was going to have to go once they...
If you're enjoying this, don't forget to subscribe. Just a week ago, the Indiana Fever were so desperate for a point guard that it felt like they were holding open tryouts for anyone who could dribble without turning the ball over. Kira Lambert stepped in after a strong run in the Greek A1 League, bringing overseas experience and all the right words about faith, blessings, and being ready for her shot. She spoke like someone who had been preparing for this chance her entire life, talking about trusting God and staying faithful through her journey.
It's a blessing, having the journey that I've had and just, remaining faithful, trusting God and doing the work and just to see it all come back around and have this opportunity.
What's this opportunity in the W mean, given all that you've worked to get to this point?
Yeah. I mean, it means everything, to, again, just remain faithful and, trust the process. It speaks to resiliency, it speaks to faith, and, I'm really excited to be here.
What's your familiarity, if any, with this team, with Steph, with how they want to run things?
Yeah, I've been watching the W for years. It's the best basketball in the world. So, I've been watching and I've been...
But here's where it gets interesting. Lambert wasn't just signed to fill space. She was brought in because the Fever were running out of point guards at an alarming rate. Caitlin Clark was still sidelined with that lingering groin injury. Ari McDonald was out with a season-ending broken foot. Sydney Carlson tore her ACL. At that point, it felt like the team was one step away from calling in somebody's cousin from the local rec league to run point.
Clearly, Odyssey Sims has played herself into more of a role for the Fever. She got a bunch of minutes in the game on Sunday, 42 minutes for Sims. Lambert didn't play, right? So you can see relative one to the other, where the Fever were looking at things from the pecking order standpoint. Now, there's also the Sophie Cunningham injury, but to be honest, I'm not sure how that would impact things unless they felt they needed somebody at that position rather than more depth at the point guard.
So Lambert was handed a 7-day contract, which in WNBA terms is basically a short audition for your dream job. The problem? Her shot at it lasted about as long as a TikTok clip. She played less than a minute against the Connecticut Sun on August 17th, and by Monday she was gone. Not because she struggled, not because she wasn't ready, but because someone else might be on the way back, the one player who packs 15,000-seat arenas and sends ESPN analysts into a frenzy, Caitlin Clark.
We just saw the most pointless contract of all time. The most pointless 7-day of all time. Kyra Lambert. They didn't even give Kyra Lambert a page on the WNBA website. I'm not joking. You type in WNBA.com and you look at the Fever's last game, Maybe they updated it because she actually saw the floor. Fever versus Connecticut. Kyra Lambert played a grand total of 4 seconds. She played 4 seconds. Would have been better off just to not play her. Oh, wait, it rounded up to 5. They didn't even give her a WNBA page. They did not even give her a WNBA.
Now Fever fans are turning into detectives, piecing things together like it's a mystery to solve. As Indy Star beat reporter Chloe Peterson noted weeks ago, when the Fever signed veteran guard Odyssey Sims, there was still roster space available. If they had just stuck with Sims, there wouldn't be any cuts needed once Caitlin Clark returned. But by adding Lambert, the math became simple: someone had to go. And when the time came, it wasn't Sims, the 33-year-old vet with over 300 games of experience. It was Lambert, the player meant to hold things together until Clark was back. The same Lambert who spoke passionately about dreams, opportunities, and trusting the process.
Fever fans, I don't know, we might have some good news. Well, we might have some great news. Cece, my precious Cece, might be returning. Might be. You hear me? Because they just released Kyra Lambert. You hear me? She had 3 ACL tears. So she wasn't good for nothing anyway. She fragile. How you have that many ACL tears? But thank you for providing us 7 days of your presence. You hear me? We needed you to fill in. You hear me? Because the GOAT, the greatest of all time, is about to return and do.
But let's talk about timing, because this couldn't be lined up any tighter. ESPN recently updated Caitlin Clark's injury report, pushing her projected return from August 12th, which has already passed, to August 26th, when the Fever host the Seattle Storm. On top of that, the Fever get a full week off after their Sunday matchup with Connecticut, giving Clark the perfect window to get back into practice shape. Even ESPN's broadcast team pointed out that this break is exactly when coach Stephanie White hopes Clark will return to practice, with the understanding she'll need several days before seeing game action. And what comes right after that break? Back-to-back games against Minnesota, followed by that August 26th home showdown with Seattle, the exact stretch ESPN circled for her possible return.
But we did know that once Caitlin Clark was back, one of the 2 hardship signings was going to have to go. So that's naturally where people's heads were thinking when it was reported on the ESPN broadcast that Clark, the hope was she would return to practice this week, with target dates the 22nd, 24th, 26th, those games being thrown out as potential return dates. Now, I don't have any other updates on that. I mean, I took Stephanie White's comments as they hope still she returns to at the regular season a little less confident than the previous.
So let's break this down. Lambert gets waived right as the Fever head into their week-long break. Clark's projected return lines up perfectly with the end of that break. The team holds on to veteran Odyssey Sims but cuts the overseas guard. If this isn't planned, then coincidences must be running wild in Indiana. Fans, meanwhile, are losing it, in the best way. Social media is packed with Caitlin Clark countdowns, celebration gifs, and speculation worthy of conspiracy blogs. Right now, the Fever sit at 18-15, clinging to a playoff spot just 2.5 games ahead of 9th place. But they're also only 3 games behind New York and 3.5 back from the 2nd seed. With Clark's return, suddenly those higher seeds don't feel so out of reach. And then there's Kyra Lambert. She likely believed this was her long-awaited chance. After 4 years overseas, shining in the Greek A1 League, she finally got her shot at the WNBA. She spoke openly about how much the opportunity meant, about faith, patience, and trusting the process. The Fever welcomed her in, and she was genuinely excited to help a team she had followed and studied for years.
Can the Fever please invest in international scouts? They definitely need to invest in international scouts because I know your boy John Liquidator ain't the best advocate when it comes to overseas players, but something I would say, they play hard, bro. Those overseas players play like they got something to prove. I give them that. But far as me, I feel like we got enough talent here at home in our home country to get players. Somebody said every day I question if Amber Cox and Stephanie White are even on the same page.